I know the title sounds bad, but please hear me out. I, 18M, have been dealing with my father's, 45M, neglect and emotional abuse towards my mother, 42F, and our family for years. My sister, 15F, and I grew up watching our dad prioritize everything else over family. Let me give you some background. My parents met in college. Mom always says dad used to be different, caring, funny, ambitious. They married young and had me right after graduation. Dad started his own business which became successful, but success changed him. He became obsessed with work, money, and status. Mom put her teaching career on hold to raise us but went back to work when I was 10. The problem started small. Dad missing family dinners because of important meetings. Skipping my sister's dance recitals for work emergencies. Making excuses to avoid weekend trips. When he was home, he'd just sit in his study watching political videos or arguing with people online. Every conversation turned into a lecture about how we weren't working hard enough or how we were wasting his money. I can't remember the last time we did anything as a family. Mom tried so hard to keep us together. She'd plan movie nights, but Dad would say movies were a waste of time. She'd arrange family vacations, but he'd either not come or leave early claiming work called. The few times he showed up to events, like my graduation, he'd leave immediately after the formal part without even taking photos. The worst part is how he treats my mom. He criticizes everything, her cooking, her job, her spending, her parenting. Mom works full-time as a high school teacher but he acts like she's some gold digger after his money. The truth is, most of her salary goes to household expenses while he spends lavishly on himself. New car every year, expensive suits, fancy restaurants with business associates, but he complains if mom buys new clothes or takes us out for ice cream. Their marriage has been struggling for years. Mom suggested couples counseling multiple times but Dad refuses. He says therapists are liberal brainwashers trying to destroy traditional marriages. When mom mentions divorce, he threatens to ruin her financially and take my sister away. He knows mom's greatest fear is losing custody. Recently I've been going through my own struggles. I started vaping and smoking weed in high school to deal with stress. Last month, I decided to quit both. The withdrawal has been hell, anxiety, mood swings, insomnia. Not once did Dad ask how I was doing. Instead, he'd make snide comments about drug addicts and lecture me about throwing away my future. Mom was the one who supported me, researched withdrawal symptoms, and helped me stay clean. Yesterday everything exploded. I was in my room when I heard them arguing. Dad was yelling about mom spending $100 on groceries without consulting him first. Mom tried explaining it was for my sister's school bake sale. I heard him call her stupid and worthless. Then came the sound I'll never forget, a loud slap followed by mom's cry of pain. Something snapped in me. I ran to their room and found mom holding her cheek, tears streaming down her face. Dad stood over her, hands still raised. 20 years of suppressed rage took over. I lunged at him and punched him hard in the face. He stumbled back, blood trickling from his nose, looking shocked that his disrespectful son dared to hit him. Mom started screaming for me to stop. My sister ran in and started crying. The look on Dad's face changed from shock to fury. He came at me but I stood my ground. Mom got between us, begging us to calm down. Dad grabbed his keys and stormed out, yelling about calling the police. After he left, Mom broke down and told us everything. This wasn't the first time he hit her. It had been happening for years, a slap here, a shove there, always when we kids weren't around. She'd hide the bruises with makeup and long sleeves. She stayed because she was terrified of him taking us away or turning us against her like he did with her family. Since last night, my phone's been blowing up with messages. Dad's family is saying I'm a violent drug addict who attacked my innocent father. Mom's family is divided, some say I was right to defend her, others say violence is never the answer. My sister is staying with our aunt because she's scared of more fighting. Dad's threatening legal action for assault. Mom's finally talking to a divorce lawyer. I keep replaying that moment in my head. The sound of the slap. Mom's cry. The feeling of my fist connecting with his face. Part of me feels guilty about using violence. I was raised to believe hitting people is wrong. But seeing him hurt my mom, knowing he'd been doing it for years while we were oblivious. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Maybe I should have handled it differently. Called the police instead of taking matters into my own hands. But after years of watching him emotionally abuse mom, seeing him finally get physical, I couldn't just stand there. Mom says violence isn't the answer, but what do you do when someone won't listen to reason? When they use their power to hurt and control others. I know hitting him probably made things worse legally. He'll use it against mom in the divorce. Paint her as an unfit mother who raised a violent son. But I don't regret standing up to him. I just wish I'd seen the signs earlier. Protected mom sooner. I'm worried about potential charges but more worried about what he might do to mom or my sister if I'm not around to protect them. Update 1: The situation has gotten so much worse since my last post. Dad followed through on his threats and pressed assault charges against me. The police showed up at our house 3 days after the incident. They were actually pretty understanding when mom explained the situation, but they still had to follow procedure. I had to go down to the station and give a statement. Dad's version of events is completely twisted. He claims I'm an unstable drug addict who attacked him unprovoked during a normal conversation with mom. He conveniently left out the part where he hit her. When the police asked mom about domestic violence, she was too scared to press charges. Years of his manipulation made her believe she somehow deserved it. What's really messed up is how dad's using this situation to manipulate my sister. At first, she was terrified of him after seeing what happened. But then he started buying her expensive gifts, a new iPhone, designer clothes, even a car she can't even drive yet. He promised to pay for her entire college education if she tells the truth, his version of the truth, that is. And it worked. My sister changed her story completely. Now she's claiming she never saw dad hit mom, that I'm the violent one who attacked dad for no reason. She even wrote a statement for dad's lawyer saying I have anger issues and she's scared of me. This is the same sister who used to cry on my shoulder about how dad's behavior scared her. It breaks my heart seeing how easily he bought her loyalty. Mom finally got the courage to file for divorce, but dad's making it as difficult as possible. He emptied their joint bank accounts the day after the incident, over $50,000 just gone. He canceled all her credit cards, even though she's been the primary user for years. She had to borrow money from her sister just to retain a lawyer. Dad's lawyer is playing dirty too. They sent letters threatening to use my history of drug abuse and violent tendencies to prove mom is an unfit parent. They're claiming her failure to control me shows she can't properly care for my sister. Dad's even threatening to tell her school board she's mentally unstable, which could cost her teaching job. His family is completely on his side. My grandmother, who I used to be close to, called me a disgrace to the family. She said I should be ashamed for raising my hand against my father. When mom tried explaining about the abuse, grandma said she probably provoked him and should learn to be a better wife. My uncles are pressuring mom to drop the divorce, saying she's destroying the family over a little marital dispute. The court appearance for my assault charges was yesterday. Thank God the judge saw through dad's act. She wasn't happy about me using violence, but she understood the context. Instead of jail time, I got 100 hours of community service and mandatory anger management classes. Dad looked like he was going to explode when the judge suggested he seek counseling for his abusive behavior. But the legal battles aren't over. Dad's lawyer is demanding a mental health evaluation, claiming my drug history makes me a danger to others. They're also pushing for a restraining order that would force me to move out. Mom's lawyer says they're just trying to isolate her by removing her support system. My sister is still living with our aunt, but she's completely under dad's influence now. She refuses to talk to me or mom unless it's to relay dad's messages about fixing our family. Yesterday she texted mom saying she'll move in with dad if mom doesn't drop the divorce. Mom cried all night after getting that message. Meanwhile, dad started a smear campaign in our community. He's telling everyone at his business club that mom turned me into a violent drug addict by being too lenient. He's spreading rumors at our church that mom's having an affair and that's why she wants a divorce. Some people we've known for years are believing him and treating us differently. The financial stress is getting to mom. She's trying to maintain a brave face, but I hear her crying in her room at night. Her sister offered us a place to stay if things get worse, but moving would mean mom giving up her teaching job. Dad knows this and keeps threatening to force us out of the house. I go to my first anger management class tomorrow. I know I need to learn better ways to handle conflict. But every time I remember mom's tearful confession about years of abuse, every time I see dad smugly manipulating my sister, every time I watch mom struggle to pay bills with her teacher's salary while he lives comfortably, I don't regret hitting him. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but I'd rather be a bad person who stood up to abuse than a good person who stood by and watched it happen. Update 2: Some shocking revelations have come to light since my last update. It turns out dad's abuse and manipulation went far deeper than any of us imagined. Everything unraveled when mom's lawyer hired a private investigator to look into the missing money from their accounts. The investigator uncovered that dad has been living a complete double life. He has another family, a girlfriend, 36F, and a 7-year-old son in a city about an hour away. All those late nights at work, business trips, and sudden emergencies? He was spending time with them. The worst part is his girlfriend had no idea about us. He told her his wife died years ago and that he was a grieving widower when they met. The financial records show he's been supporting this secret family for 8 years. He bought them a house, paid for private school, took them on expensive vacations, all while telling mom we couldn't afford basic things like home repairs or my sister's braces. He even set up a college fund for his other son while refusing to contribute to mine. My sister finally saw dad's true colors last week. She was at his new apartment, the one he rented after moving out, when she overheard him on the phone with his girlfriend. He was laughing about how easy it was to manipulate a teenager with money and gifts. He literally said he only kept my sister on his side to hurt mom in the divorce. My sister recorded the conversation on her phone. She came home that night crying, finally understanding how dad had been using her. Mom welcomed her back without any blame or I told you so. My sister showed us all the texts where dad coached her on what to say to the police and his lawyer. She's agreed to tell the truth in court about dad's abuse and manipulation. The biggest surprise came when dad's girlfriend reached out to mom. She found mom's contact through some social media digging after getting suspicious about dad's stories. The girlfriend was horrified to learn she'd been the other woman all these years. She thought dad was a loving widower who worked too much, not a manipulative abuser with a whole other family. The girlfriend is now cooperating with mom's lawyer. She provided evidence of dad's lies and financial deception. Turns out he even used mom's identity to take out loans for his second family's house. The girlfriend's son looks exactly like dad. There's no denying he's been cheating since before my sister was born. Dad's carefully constructed lies are crumbling fast. His family, who were so quick to condemn me and defend him, are now facing the truth about who he really is. My grandmother called mom crying, apologizing for not believing her. Even dad's brothers, who were pressuring mom to reconcile, have stopped speaking to him. The criminal charges against me were dropped after my sister's testimony about dad's abuse and manipulation. The judge was particularly disturbed by the recording of him bragging about buying my sister's loyalty. But the real justice is coming through the divorce proceedings. Dad's girlfriend is suing him too. She'd quit her job years ago at his insistence, believing his promises to always provide for her and their son. Now she's learned it was all built on lies. Between the two lawsuits and potential criminal charges for financial fraud, dad's empire is crashing down. Last night, he showed up at our house drunk, begging mom to call off the lawyers. He kept saying he could explain everything, that he still loves us, that we're tearing apart the family. Mom just closed the door in his face while I called the police. It felt good seeing him being led away in handcuffs after years of acting untouchable. My sister is struggling with guilt over believing dad's lies and turning against us. She started seeing a counselor to process everything. Mom assured her it's not her fault, she was a child manipulated by an expert abuser. I'm just glad to have my sister back. The divorce proceedings are moving forward. With all the new evidence, dad's lawyer has suggested he agree to mom's terms rather than risk everything coming out in court. I doubt he'll take the advice, his ego won't let him surrender without a fight. But for the first time in years, I feel hopeful. The truth is finally coming out, and dad can't manipulate his way out of it this time. Update 3: The divorce was finally settled last week. After all his lies were exposed, dad had no choice but to accept mom's terms. She got primary custody of my sister, the house, and half of everything, including his pension and business assets. The judge was especially harsh after seeing the evidence of his financial deception and manipulation. His girlfriend won her lawsuit too. The court ordered him to provide child support and compensation for the years she spent believing his lies. Between the two settlements, dad's fortune is mostly gone. He had to sell his business to cover the payments. His fancy car and designer suits are gone too. The biggest hit to dad wasn't financial though, it was social. He lost his job when the scandal became public. His drinking got worse after that. Most of our relatives have cut contact with him, especially after he started drunk calling everyone to blame them for destroying his life. He keeps trying to contact us despite the restraining order. Sometimes he sends angry texts about how we ruined his reputation. Other times he writes long emails begging for forgiveness, claiming he's changed and misses his family. Last month he showed up at mom's school, causing such a scene that they had to call security. Now he's facing criminal charges for violating the restraining order. My sister is still processing everything in therapy. She struggles with trust issues after realizing how easily dad manipulated her. But she's doing better. Her grades have improved since dad's toxic presence left our lives. She even joined the school drama club, something dad always discouraged as a waste of time. Mom is slowly rebuilding her life. She started dating again, meeting a really nice guy through church. He's completely different from dad, gentle, supportive, actually listens when people talk. My sister and I were wary at first, but he's proven himself trustworthy. He comes to my sister's place and helped me move into my college dorm. I haven't spoken to dad since that night I hit him. Sometimes I wonder if things would be different if I'd handled it another way. But then I remember mom's bruises, my sister's tears, years of manipulation and lies. No, he deserved what he got. Standing up to abuse might be messy, but it's necessary. Dad's girlfriend reached out recently. Their son is asking questions about his half-siblings. She wanted to know if we'd be open to meeting him someday. Mom left the decision up to me and my sister. We're not ready yet, but maybe someday. The kid shouldn't suffer for his father's sins. Life isn't perfect now. Mom still has nightmares sometimes. My sister flinches when people raise their voices. I'm working through my own anger issues in therapy. But we're healing. No more walking on eggshells, no more manipulation, no more lies. Dad's latest attempt at contact was a letter saying he's moving to another state for a fresh start. Good riddance. Let him start fresh somewhere else. We're doing just fine without him. I'm starting college next semester. My anger management classes helped me understand myself better. Mom's boyfriend helped me get a part-time job at his company. For the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well and letting toxic people destroy themselves.